Hi, welcome to What We Learned This Week, episode 10.
Woohoo!
Where it might not matter.
But we're going to talk about it anyway.
I'm Chalene.
And I'm Liz.
Hey, Liz.
How's your week been?
My week's been okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Struggling with my boy in video games.
Oh, dang.
So all you out there that are struggling with that, I feel you. I feel you.
She's got you. She got you, boo.
I don't know if I got you, but I feel you.
Oh, okay. Shoot. Oh, I got a cold. So, my voice might be a little froggy. I was really hoping to go for like the deep Barry White kind of thing going on.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like your sexy voice.
Is that my sexy voice? Does it sound sexy when I get that low? Probably not.
Not that low.
Okay. And probably won't when I laugh either.
Cute laugh. That's cute.
We're gonna go with that. We're gonna go with the cute laugh today. That's
yes.
Pretty much where it's at. I had a week that I felt like I didn't learn anything, and all I did was relearn what I thought I learned.
Okay, that's fair.
Have you ever had one of those?
Yes.
Are you being honest?
Yeah, sometimes I feel like uneventful things happen, or I'm still just plodding along on the journey I've been going on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Or that, I kind of get something in my head, but then I still have to, live it.
Right.
That's always,
I would really like things to change instantaneously when I realize there's a problem.
Right?
But it doesn't work
that
way.
Yeah. Maybe that's all I learned this week. Yes. It doesn't change instantaneously.
It's all about time.
Ugh.
That's all right.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to tell myself that when I go home for my meditation later. How is your meditation stuff going? Can we have a sneak peek into next week, or should we not talk about it at all?
No, we can talk about it. It's been okay. It's a challenge for me, but...
Okay. Which part is the most challenging? Let's talk about that.
The affirmations.
Oh my gosh, I love the affirmations.
I know, you too. And I tried to do that this morning thinking, Liz likes this. There's got to be something I like about this.
Just weren't quite buying into
So, well, I felt a little bit better because before I was just saying it over and over and over and over again to where, you know, when you say a word over, it doesn't even
mean
make
anything
any sense anymore.
Yeah, it's true.
So I took a little bit more time and said what I needed to say and tried to feel in my body. This sounds so corny, but feel something attached to what I was saying.
Or just check into the feelings period where it shows up. You're talking to a yoga instructor all day long is, where do you feel this in your body? So you got the right girl.
All right, good.
Yeah. I think the hardest thing for me is commitment of 1 hour.
Really?
Yeah, I'm massively, I'm all about all the things in there. Love it all. I think we talked about this possibly. This might be the little bit of my rebellious heart thing going on. I'm not really sure. But I'm an hour. Watch me divide it any way I want. I'll just do this 15 minutes here and 15 minutes there. I cannot do it consecutively.
Really?
Every single morning I have cut off the latter part of, for those of you who are tuning in and didn't possibly hear the last podcast or two, we're doing a challenge. It's called the
Miracle
Morning Challenge. It's a challenge though, because we're being challenged with it.
Yes.
It's to incorporate principles of self-improvement, I guess, spiritual growth.
Yeah. Which
I love all the principles behind it. Affirmations, meditation, visualization, reading, exercise, and... Journaling. Yes. But sitting down to say, I'm going to do this for 1 hour straight is I have not done it once.
That's so interesting. That part's not hard for me. But I like to sit.
Oh, I like to sit too.
Oh.
I just don't like to wake up early enough to do it all in 1 hour.
Before you have to. So you're saying that you don't wake up early enough so that other things are waiting for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's my, I can do it later. Oh, I can...
you don't. That's, I think, the miracle part is because we don't make time for ourselves.
You're absolutely right. So that will be the rest of my challenge this next little bit.
Right. If you're on the challenge, we're excited to talk about it next week.
We are, and I'm super excited to report how we do this next week, because the best part is that we're just figuring it out for the first 7 days, right?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, well, diving right in to what the subject matter is going to be for today. I really have wanted to talk about something that struck me, but it was a while back. I was listening to a podcast, and I will be so honest, I cannot remember for the life of me who exactly said it like this. I feel like it was an Oprah conversation with Wayne Dyer or somebody like that.
Okay.
Where it was this conversation over how we can learn from joy, and it doesn't have joyful experiences.
Okay.
And they don't have to just be difficult things. They don't have to just be trials. And I was a little bit mind blown, what? Okay. I can have cool experiences all the time that I learn from, okay. Which I was so thrilled to be able to consider that I don't have to just have amazing, life-changing learning experiences from trials, right?
Okay.
Really deep Christian and other, you're familiar with very deep religious dogma that points out that change and growth only happen from hardships and trials, and more specifically that God gives those to you, right?
But I've also heard that from life coaches and...
True.
And so it's a little bit out of a religious context too.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
recognize that being uncomfortable...
is growth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that we need to sit with it or learn from it, and that's the whole purpose of it and all these other things. So I was really blown away with this concept. They didn't go really deep, because I probably would have remembered who said it.
Did they give any examples?
They really didn't.
That's not fair.
It wasn't fair, because I was like, this is not applicable. This cannot be applicable to life.
Yeah.
I think they were just trying to have us recall good times and good experiences that we've had, and that those can be really soul enriching. And I agree. I mean, that's a very easy thing to agree with. Joyful experiences can be enriching to my soul.
Oh, yes? For sure.
Yeah. I can learn from a joyous experience. My wedding was pretty sweet. I still 99% of the time totally love my husband, right? What were you thinking I was going to say?
I was thinking you would say, I remember that day, but I don't remember
I didn't drink that day, so I was good.
Oh, good.
I do remember. But yes, I've had that happen where joyful experiences have brought, good, amazing growth and a new journey.
Well, do you think really growth or?
Well, so that was where I really struggled with this. And I have been really, honestly, it's been in the back of my mind for months.
Okay.
Like, it's been just kind of eating away at me, because part of me wanted to be like, you're lying. You're totally lying. All the transformative things that I've experienced in my life have been terrible.
Oh, no.
And not terrible in the like, I'm never coming back from this, but to some degree, it has been a shock or a life-altering thing, or it's, I can probably count some of the negatives on my two hands more than the positives.
Okay.
If I'm being honest. So I guess what I'm trying to get to the point of with this is, because I've been pondering it so long, of course, I had a couple of experiences or just little things that popped up over the last few days that have kind of reminded me that this is something I've been, thinking over. But it also helped me to come to a conclusion.
Okay.
So here's my conclusion. Marianne Williamson, if you're familiar with her, she does the Course in Miracles. She's actually currently, I think she's running for candidacy for...
That's what it looked like.
Yeah, she's...
And I looked her up.
Yeah, she also wrote the book, A Return to Love.
Okay.
And one of her quotes is my very favorite. Who are we to be... amazing, beautiful, powerful.
Oh, she's the one that wrote that.
Yes.
Okay.
And I love that quote. The first time I read it, it resonated so deeply within me that we hold our own selves back sometimes, our own power. Mm-hmm. But she says that it's not up to you what you learn. It's merely up to you whether you learn through joy or through pain. To me, this kind of coincided with this concept that our deep growth can happen through joy. And what I felt like she's actually saying there, though, and if I'm wrong, Marianne, I'm really sorry. You can correct me. But I got the impression that it's an attitude, right? So
I agree.
What did I just share with you? I shared with you that I have more negative experiences on both hands than positive, like deep, life-changing positive ones. I do.
Yeah.
Sorry. There are big, awful things that happened, or not even, they don't even have to be big. It felt big as a 8th grader to move clear across the world. Now, I'd probably be okay with that. But it wasn't in 8th grade.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, don't you think that people experience different things differently, too?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Experiencing for me in college loneliness was one of the hardest things I've ever gone through, but some people wouldn't even bat their eye.
At loneliness or experiencing loneliness? Yeah. I love being alone.
Me too. I do now. I had to learn, but...
Maybe it's because we aren't alone all the time now, right?
Probably.
But yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I guess that's why it was such an easy conclusion to come to, that while joy can bring certainly growth, I really do believe you can have some growth from joyful experiences.
Okay.
I'm going to play devil's advocate. the only reason you recognize that that's a joyful experience is because of the negative, is because of the crap.
Because you overcame it, is what you're saying.
Or because you've had crap happen at other times so you could recognize when it was even joyful, right?
So you're like the yin and the yang.
Yes.
You can't know the bad until you know the good.
Ugh, right? The opposition in all things. Or I think we talked about this even briefly one of these last weeks, the equal opposite reaction. Oh, right. Newton's law, one of them.
Yeah.
In the universe. And we could almost stop right there. We could just be like, okay, so yay, we need to have both. Move on with your life.
So Liz, you talked to me about this. I don't know. You mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've had it in the back of my mind too, thinking, okay, we have to talk about this probably. So I need to go find some joyful experiences that help me grow. And so
I love this. So what did you come up with?
I really haven't been able to come up with something that truly changed my life.
On that level, like from just...
Yeah. I mean, I can look at my wedding. Okay, that was a good day. That was a joyful experience. But the leading up to the wedding included lots of different challenges to bring me to that point. And I think about like the birth of my children, and those had their own trials, each one of them.
Absolutely.
But they were joyful.
Yeah, they're on my list of joys.
Yeah.
But they didn't come without all the difficulty.
Yeah.
Like
so
literal to get them there.
Right. So my conclusion was that no, not really. Growing from joyful experiences is like the icing on the cake. Yeah. Almost. You have to bake the cake first to see the beauty.
Yeah.
You know?
Or the work to appreciate the accomplishment on the other side.
Yeah.
Right? I've really been pondering this a lot too. And this isn't to be Debbie Downer because I feel like on the other side, it's like, oh, I really wanted to hear that my positive energy could manifest somehow into just a series of consecutive wonderful thing after wonderful thing. And then, I somehow attain this. I don't know. In yoga, we call it Ananda, bliss.
Okay.
And that would happen because the joy and happiness in and around you fills you so much that you just achieve that. I study this stuff. Like I know to some degree that comes from an ability to remove ourselves from the day-to-day.
Mm-hmm.
It comes from non-attachment because certainly we get attached to outcomes and ideas and how things need to go. Maybe there is a progression that as we continue to do, I mean, again, let's go back to Marianne Williamson's quote. I feel like what she's really saying is it's attitude and perspective, right?
I think so.
So that's the kind of growth that shifts so that suddenly I'm not seeing the 10 million things that week that are crappy or bad or difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing, first off, that I have a really strong and powerful ability to make choices. In fact, I think what prompted this was last night I was running, this is what we had on our schedule. We had a soccer party, pack meeting for 2 kids, rugby practice for 2 kids, same 2 kids that were at pack meeting, an orchestra concert, and 2 baseball games for 2 other kids.
Wow.
And that was in the hours from 5 to 8:30. No. It was legit, right? And I got to this point where, first off, rugby we probably shouldn't have signed up with on the other sports, okay? We overdid it. We way overextended ourselves this year.
Okay.
Could I keep doing that? Yes, but we actually did a parent lame move and took on all the things, thought we could do all the things, wanted to do all the things, and it was stupid, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And I started regretting each day coming this week on my calendar and how busy it was. And that's when it hit me like, wait a second. Whoa, hold the phone here. If I am going to really recognize and say that I have power in my choices and power over, the positive experiences I have and all this other stuff, then I actually have to finish owning up to the rest of that. I made a mistake on some of this, and I'm not going to put either of our, I don't want to keep spending my time like this, and I don't have to for my kids or me to be successful. I think we touched on this a little this week actually too in some private conversations. What is the outcome I'm seeking? Right?
Oh, right.
I want my kids to be able to have really good sport group experiences because of what they learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
And if some of them take off with sports and that's a really big deal to them, great. Same with music. Same with anything else that I can try to create for them. But bottom line, they still have to choose what's going to be best for them. Right? Anyways, I eliminated it and I felt so amazing. I left after pack meeting. It was a big deal. I needed to be there. My son got one of his little awards. It was special. Cool. Yeah. And my husband was at a baseball game, and one of my other sons had a huge project and couldn't even go to his. He was like, sorry, I've got, it's the end of school, right?
Like, May. May's hard.
Everything in May. Everything. Mm-hmm. Like, why are we doing this all in May?
I don't know.
Why did everybody save everything for the last 2 weeks of May? Curse you. All of you. I went home and this is the good part. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a good ending. I promise. So we went home and it's so beautiful, right? Like we've had a lot of rain. The grass was so green. I'm watching my sister's dog, which has been this whole other, like, I want to be so bitter about this.
Oh no.
Not because I don't love him, but it's just hair and stink and dogs. And he's not
one more
small.
being.
Oh my gosh.
One more being.
He's an Anatolian Shepherd. The dog, his head goes up to my shoulder just when he's walking next to me. He's huge.
I don't even understand that. That's like a horse.
He is
like a pony.
He's basically a small pony. Mm-hmm. And my kids are so good about it. They help and everything else is what I meant. Anyways, we get home and I'm looking at how beautiful it is outside. And the fact that I did just cut rugby out, which we could have gone and done for 2 hours. And I looked at my youngest and I was like, what if we just go and sit in the backyard and read? Or just sit out on a blanket in the sun. He's like, Mom, I would love that.
Oh,
it was so cool.
That is awesome.
So we went out and laid on this little tiny little raft of a blanket because the grass was still kind of damp and, scratchy on our toes, and the dogs wouldn't leave us alone and whatever. But it was, so maybe that's what we're talking about here, right? Like that was a joy moment that was very transformative, but it didn't just happen. It didn't. Yeah. I had to let some other stuff go. I had to make very conscious choices. Some of it was how I chose to see the situation.
Yeah, that was what I was kind of going to talk about. You get to look at that situation and say, I'm a terrible, horrible person. I overscheduled my family. We're never going to hang out again. This sucks.
I ruined their opportunities for sports and whatever. I did want a rugby player. Okay, I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm a little attached to one of my boys being a rugby player, and I'm going to have to be honest here. They're not exactly built for it.
Shoot.
For one thing, we may be on the lower side of the, where you're on the growth curve or whatever. And they're like, you're in the 78th percentile. My kids never get over 50, okay?
Same.
One of mine is in like the 14th. And I was like, is he failure to thrive? Oh, he's fine. For now.
Oh, no.
That's another story.
Oh, gosh.
Anyways.
Yeah, but you could choose to look at it and say, oh, you know what? I'm never going to do this again, but I'm so glad I did it so that I know I don't have to do it again.
Seriously.
So next year, you're not going to do it again.
No way. No way. I'm not committing to that.
No.
And we're so happy. And I don't have to. What? And we got to choose how we spend. We really do get to choose how we spend our time. I don't know why I need permission to do that, but apparently I do.
Oh.
And it was really nice. I really enjoyed it. And then we just hung out the rest of the evening and talked. That's what I wanted with my kids, was that type of connection, was an ability to talk and share.
Saying all this reminds me, I used to babysit for this family when I think I was like 19. And they would go on their date, and then they would bring sushi and come home and hang out with me. Like, it was really fun.
Oh, that's cool.
And one night they had gone to like a church meeting, and they said something that I've never forgotten. Mm-hmm. And they said that they were given the advice to, when they're going through something hard, to pray and say, thank you for this opportunity to grow.
That is what I was going to talk about next.
Oh, really?
I love this. I love that you brought that up.
Yeah. So every time I go through something, I'm not kidding, it makes it easier for me to go through it.
It's part of that really is your attitude, right?
Yeah.
So Marianne Williamson she didn't use the word attitude when she shares her Course in Miracles, when she shares in her book, Return to Love.
Mm-hmm.
The shift is to be a shift from shame and from the critical eye. It's to shift to being a student of life, or to really be someone who shows up. So what you just did is you showed up for your lessons, right?
Yeah.
You get to choose and take on what is best, and it's a willingness in your heart and mind and in all those things, right?
Oh,
and
I love
forward.
That. Yes.
Yes. So yes, I played devil's advocate, but that's because part of me wants to really reject this notion that I can do the hard stuff joyfully, maybe even, right?
Oh, is that really hard for you to wrap your head around?
Sometimes it really is. Yeah. And so I guess in my head, when I hear that you're finding more joy in learning, or that you're learning more through joy, then that's what that meant to me. And to some degree, I think it might.
Okay.
I think it might very well mean that it's just a shift somewhat in, again, if I'm showing up for life, if it's not, look at what life has given me, look at poor me, martyr.
Well, and taking, because like you talked about the shame, right?
Yes,
Isn't that taking on like saying that problem is me?
Yes.
Instead of saying I'm dealing with that.
Yes. So one of the articles that I came across when I was just doing my little side research, I guess, this cute girl she was writing from a very Christian perspective. There was this scripture that she kept next to her bed to try and get her to get out of bed every morning.
Ooh, I need this.
No, it was terrible. It was the meanest scripture ever. It was like, you will be, poverty stricken for life, and your sluggishness is.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yes, I don't want that.
And well, that's what she said, is she kept trying to motivate herself with this for years, and all she wanted was a little bit more sleep. And it was this embracing that she wanted more sleep that shifted the perspective. And she was like, never has shame or belittling gotten anybody anywhere ever. Not real learning, not real growth, because you still have to deal with the underlying issues later, is what she said. And that is what I have felt, right? Okay. To some degree, on my sidelines, playing both sides, watching the tennis match in my head, going back and forth as to whether this concept could be real or true, or how it could really apply in my life, or anybody's for that matter.
Yeah.
That frustration with. And I think that's what Marianne Williamson was really getting at. And what I'm seeing in some of the reading otherwise that I was doing is that it's getting away from fear of consequence necessarily.
Okay.
So you're shifting from a fear-based practice to, I don't know.
It would be love. I love the experience. I mean, that might be really, really far for some people to go. You might have to say, I kind of like it.
Well, didn't we talk about this once too? You're like, the possibility.
Yeah, it's possible.
I don't have to fully love, embrace. It's possible to not feel overwhelmed by what, or, it's possible to not hate every moment of doing my dishes this week or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. I love that, because then your feelings, right? If your feelings truly do come from your thoughts, then instead of feeling despair and self-hatred, you're feeling a little bit lighter. You might feel a little bit more willing to try, right? Instead of wanting to go to bed.
Oh my gosh.
Covers over your head.
Yes. Well, and I think we even touched on this with your mom, I want to say.
We did.
Last week, didn't we? There's an ownership thing that happens. Because when somebody inflicts or enforces or fear bases, I have no ownership at all.
Oh, true.
Right? I'm only living out of fear of consequence or what might or may not happen all the time.
And we can't tell the future.
Yes.
My kids think they can, but they can't.
Well, and then I always feel like everything that happens in my life is inflicted upon me.
Oh, that you're being acted upon instead of acting.
Yes.
Okay.
That's it. That is it. That's the shift for me.
Oh, yeah, that totally makes sense. So when something happens, you can either look at it and say, something is happening to me, I've got to deal with it. Or you can be proactive and be like, oh, hey, I'm going to act this way because of my problem.
Yeah. I love it.
Do we have a real example?
Well, I had an ecclesiastical leader that always said that there are 3 things that happen in life. Things that happen because of your own choices, things that happen because of somebody else's choices, and things that just happen.
Okay.
And sometimes that can mean that it's quote unquote inflicted by, God, a higher power, the universe, whatever it is, to try and teach you a lesson. In my little bit of research too, I actually came across a little blog article. It's in like the spiritual mastery section.
Okay.
And this posting talks about steps to learn through joy. It was kind of interesting to me, so I wanted to talk about them for a second.
All right.
And I think we touched on most of them. But they say that the first one of the first steps, or just one of the steps, is that you accept that learning is possible without pain.
Okay, so can we use this in my example with my son?
Yes.
Okay. Just to recap, he's probably addicted to video games. He's showing all the signs of like a true addict. And it's been part of my problem too, because of my parenting style, that I wasn't focusing enough on managing that time that he was spending on it. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's the problem I'm dealing with. So what's the first one again?
Accept that learning is possible without pain.
Okay. So I can either choose to wallow, or I could choose to just be like, I'm not going to hurt because of this. I'm going to choose to do something.
Right. Because I can admit that, like, in a situation that I come up against that's difficult, one of my first thoughts is, I don't want to deal with that.
Right.
I don't want to deal with this.
Or, ooh, that hurts. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to hurt.
Yeah.
Right?
Or it's somebody else's thing, so why do I have to deal with it now?
Oh.
Or because of you, I have to deal with it. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I can see that. Yeah.
Even if, I mean, maybe not necessarily in that situation, if I recognize some of the role, quote unquote, that...
But at the same time, it's also your thoughts around it. So you do have a little ownership in it.
Ugh, right?
Yeah. So if someone is doing something and you're choosing to like be mad about it, then you chose to have that thought about it instead of just saying like, that's their problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess consequences do sometimes affect you.
Right.
That's true. But it's all your thoughts wrapped around that person being,
oh my gosh, all these things.
Yeah.
Or need to change it, or where you have to do the work for this, that, and whatever.
Mm-hmm. So what's step 2? They
kind of talk about that, and they say that accepting the fact that we're able to learn through joy is just a big, huge paradigm shift. And so they use the example of like sports or something else that you've had to do some work towards. But when you find something that you really love, it's not work the same anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Like for me, when I think I was really overwhelmed when I first started practicing yoga a little more. But at the same time, I totally gravitated to it because that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
So even though there's work involved in it, I don't sit around and say, oh, the pain of doing downward dogs over and over again.
It's like, I haven't got this.
Yet. Oh my gosh, right? Growth mindset. Thank you, my second grader. One of the next steps, and they didn't say like this is 1, this is 2.
Dang it.
I know, it's not linear. You can't do that one first and then do the next one.
Okay.
But you can include this in your thought processes. No worries, Chalene.
Oh.
Look at the things through your life that you have learned through pain and ask yourself, how could I have learned this through joy?
I was actually going to ask you that. If there's something that when you said you have all your fingers, that you can't. Yeah. If you could go back and give yourself advice or change some of your attitude, do you see a way to do that?
It's my attitude. For me, it really is attitude.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I take on a martyr role, for sure. I had this place where I was like, oh, this is what a trial looks like. Mm-hmm. So this is what it means to maybe be noble while I'm doing this trial, or I'm supposed to believe this so that I feel like I'm doing better or working harder, or that I'm not, or I internalized it to I'm really doing something wrong, and this is my trial so that I learn how to not do that again, or that I suck at this, or it was a very negative thought pattern.
But all of those are negative.
It's still
even
negative.
Though you think you're being good, it's still negative.
It's all, I mean, I could literally look back on some of those moments and feel how dark it felt to be shrouded in that. I didn't realize how much I struggled with a desire to even move forward in my life at all a few years back after some of these trials hit, where there was no joy for anything anymore. It was, kid off to preschool in bed for hours.
Wow.
Mode. Apparently that's not normal.
Oh, shoot, because I take a nap a lot of times when my daughter goes to preschool.
No, nap is different. No, I mean, I literally got him to preschool and then went back to bed until the end of preschool. Went and got
Slogged
him.
yourself around.
Yeah, went and got him. We'd eat. He'd take a nap or a rest. I'd go back to bed. It was...
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was, yeah. So, I could go back.
At least you didn't have the shame, because you thought everybody was doing it, maybe?
No, I just was pretty... Yeah, that's a whole nother...
Okay, we'll talk about it.
There was some shame.
Rabbit hole.
La, la, la. Oh, I love that. That's our transition.
Yeah.
La, la, la. Good on you. Okay, so... We could look back through those experiences. How could I have learned this through joy? Which I love this. I actually might have to go through a couple other... I think I might do that in one of my meditations this week, actually. Just a couple things that have really stayed in my brain as horrible, hard experiences.
That's a good idea.
What if we rethink them?
Because I still have a couple things in my head.
They burn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still kind of miffed.
Yeah, me too. I still am holding on to these feelings for people that I feel like did me wrong.
Yeah, man.
And I need to let go of that. I like it. I'm going to do it.
Ooh, okay. Let's both do it.
Okay.
One of the other things they suggest is look at things you're trying to learn right now. So ask yourself the same question. How can I learn this lesson through joy as opposed to pain?
Yeah, okay.
Which you already did.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thanks.
If you're currently in the middle of a painful situation, ask yourself what lesson this painful situation is trying to teach you.
Is that the same thing?
I feel like it's the same thing.
Me too.
But it's bolded, so I think it's supposed to be two different things.
Well, maybe they're looking at past and present.
Yeah, maybe.
Is the difference. This really isn't a linear list.
It's not. Are you okay with that?
I'm okay.
I'm
panting through it.
Good job. I really am proud of you. Yeah. She's holding on to various things so she can flex her... No, I'm just kidding. Just grin and bear it. Keep breathing. Oh, man. But that's totally what Marianne's little section talks about is It's showing up as a learner of life, as a someone who participates. And then look at what went right instead of what went wrong. Which again, it's just a shift in perspective, right? Like we hold on to, and this I will attest to, we're programmed, our lower brain, our animal brain, all of it. And we've probably touched on this before, but it just applies to a lot of things.
It does.
We are programmed to remember the negative, so it keeps us safe.
Yes, we're programmed, right? It's like the caveman. Yeah. What was their job? Stay alive.
Seriously. Don't hang around saber-toothed tigers. They'll eat you, right? Don't eat this berry. You'll die.
Don't hold a rock and go into the water.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Learn how to swim maybe before you just, I don't know. There's a lot of important things that we do need to remember. But with that, we get to kind of undo maybe that it takes the whole lead in our life. Struggling between life and mind, and maybe in our mind, right? It starts in our mind. Oh, for sure.
It does start in our mind, yeah.
And it has to do with inner life. Or we just need to remember that when some of those thoughts come, we don't always need to go to survival mode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So where's the positive I can bring into this? How can I show up for this lesson? What am I really supposed to learn or can learn from this? It's not things being inflicted on us. It's not like we have to go around with this badge of whatever, honor or non-honor because of what's happening to you. And it's not a reflection of who you are either. Mm-mm. As if we're all spirits having the human experience, but we're also humans. We're just humans, all trying to figure it out, man. And
I like that a lot.
Yeah. Makes me feel a lot easier on myself. That's for sure.
And when you recognize that it's something you have to learn, just hurry up and learn it so you can move on. Like, don't wallow. I heard someone talking about that when our kids go through problems, that if we look at it like that, like they're taking a course in friendship, say, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or passing school, working hard. If we try and take that away from them, solve it for them.
Sure.
Or, do their homework for them.
Right.
Then they're going to have to learn it again or go through another hard experience. So
sure. When
they're maybe not with our safety nets, right? Because we can help them.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the outcome we're really trying to help them achieve?
Yeah. And we do want to save them. I want to save my kids all the time.
Oh, man. Guilty.
Yeah.
Not even just my kids, people around me. How many times have I handed you another book? Chalene, you should read this.
Boundaries.
Yeah, it's healthy. It's good.
All the things come together.
They do.
Yeah. I like it.
Maybe that's going to be the best part of our little affirmation and visualization part of our miracle morning. Yeah. As we get to keep just all is well. And, maybe that's the shift in owning your power that happens, right? You own your power because you're owning all this stuff.
Oh, it's just like be proactive rather than reactive. It takes more work to be proactive.
But in the long run, you get those freebie moments differently, don't you? Don't you? Maybe
totally.
Like me saying, I am not going to keep riding along with what I thought I was supposed to do for these kids in terms of experiences and opportunities and blah, blah, that I'm supposed to be providing them. We could be more spontaneous or see the moment when it was really there. Right? Mm-hmm. I think that moment last night of sitting around and talking and being together was probably more important than anything else they might have learned that day. Yeah. And maybe I'm chalking that, like, it's not me, but and maybe I'm giving a little too much value. I don't know. Maybe it won't matter to them the same later, but it matters to me.
Even if it matters to you, it's worth it.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. Huh?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be for everybody else.
And that was important for you to recognize that balls can drop and nobody dies. I mean, we go to that extreme, not really, but kind of like...
Yeah, get out of survival mode. Like I just said, right? Yeah. We go to survival mode. Well, that means this is what I have to do because... No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Take a step back.
Love it. I'm glad that we came to the same realization, actually, because I was like, we've never really disagreed really heavily on something, and I wasn't prepared for it, so I'm kind of glad we came to the same conclusion, even though...
Well, it's funny, though. We also reaffirmed that there's some truth to it, though, right? We didn't say that it wasn't true.
That's true.
I mean, in fact, it is true. You can have great things from joyful experiences, however, comma, ... parentheses.
It's because you have to find joy when you're going through the hard things. Yeah.
Cited works. Like, there's a lot more going on here.
That's because Liz always looks at things through a deep lens. Whatever. Not like a surface lens like me.
Lies. She goes deep, girls.
Yeah.
And boys.
Yeah.
Everybody involved. I have a question of the week. Are you proud?
All right. I am really excited.
Me too.
Actually.
Because this is one of my favorite topics since we're getting close to the end of school.
Okay.
What is your favorite family vacation? And with that, let's be more specific. Like, if you could plan a favorite family vacation for this summer, like, what would it be?
Oh, this is different than where I was going to go. Okay, I thought it was like a memory.
Oh.
Yeah.
We could do both. Do we do both?
Do we have time? Probably not.
All right. Stick to...
Planning something?
Yes. Your favorite family vacation with your current family.
I have a dream deep down inside. There was this movie...
Where's the music? Cue music.
Called Dan in Real Life.
Oh, okay.
At the end of every summer, they have like a lake house and the whole family gets together, cousins, brothers and sisters.
I remember that movie.
Yeah. And they just hang out together. I don't remember ever seeing a TV turned on.
Yeah.
I don't know if cell phones weren't a big thing back then, but nobody had that. And they just sat around and someone would play the piano and they would sing a song and they had
karaoke hour, right? Didn't they do stuff like that, or plays, or... Oh,
they did a talent show.
That's what it was. Okay.
They also exercised together in the morning. My one favorite thing that I know my family actually would never do is they buy 2 papers so that the boys and the girls can do a crossword puzzle and fight against each other. Like that.
Oh my gosh.
Is this big nerdy dream of mine.
Serious.
So that's I think funny. That would be really fun. Like you have a beach, you have the lake house. Like, I don't know. I think that would be really fun.
Unplug and get present.
And just be with everybody and do stupid things. I can't tell you how creative I get when I'm in those situations. Like, all these ideas come to me.
Really?
So I think it would be really fun. And my family likes to, I make them do what I say. Like my brothers and sisters, and they all do it.
That's
I guess
awesome.
I'm the oldest, so it's really fun for me. What about you?
I am an oldest too, but I don't know if I could con everybody into being along with whatever my soul ideas were. And I'm not as creative in those moments as I would like to think I am. Yeah, I actually love a lot about that.
Okay.
I think it would be so cool too. I can't wait till my kids are that little bit older, and some of the things and experiences and whatever we can do are very geared around the same kind of thing, where we get to like super unplug, and mine involves a beach as well. Some of our best family vacations already have been, my parents lived in Hawaii for a few years. Right? And I felt really bad for us too, because we got to visit there.
That's awesome.
And I honestly loved that we would be all, so I guess this is a memory-based one. Sorry.
That's all right.
But I'd still plan it probably the same way because it was so dang fun. They lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. We'd all, like, foot to head air mattresses crammed in one tiny little room so that we could all sleep in one room and then just go on adventures every single day and go to the beach. And maybe that was it for the day. Just go to the beach.
And you didn't feel all this pressure to have to, like, fit stuff in.
Yes. And because I was with my folks, too, it removed this pressure. Like, I don't know what happens when I stay in a hotel or everything else. It formalizes everything a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
This is vacation. Must do vacation. And I kind of agree with this notion that you, like, go to a house and unplug, and it's all the fun stuff. It's all the fun stuff. So, yes, vacation would be the beach.
Yeah.
And all the things.
Yeah, definitely not cold.
Not cold. Yeah, East Coast beaches are freezing.
And the sand is so sticky.
I found some soft beaches. They weren't that great. Sorry, East Coast. We love you.
No, I'm sure there's
Don't worry, I graduated high school out there. I got love for you. They're beautiful in a totally different... It's a different experience. Yeah. It just is. We went out to... Where did we go? Oh, Chincoteague Island. While we were out there where the ponies go. It was like my dream. Did you ever read that book, Misty of Chincoteague Island? And it was like this horse book. Oh my gosh.
I wanted to just laugh out loud at you.
It was like my favorite when I was a kid. I always wanted to go, and I got to go. I even took a picture next to Misty, the statue. You have no idea what I'm talking about.
No.
It was the best. Way rabbit trailing on that family vacation story.
Beautiful. I just have tears. Just tears.
Wow. The sarcasm is thick over here, folks. It's all good?
Well, Liz, I really liked that. Thank you.
Which part?
All of it.
Oh, okay. Even if she didn't love the Misty at Chincoteague Island bit at the end. That's fine.
I just don't like it because I can't spell that word in my mind, and it just irritates me.
CHIN.
Chincoteague.
COTOGEUOAEIOU, and sometimes Y. Thanks for joining us today.
See ya.
And keep learning.
Because it does matter.